Peter, welcome to the Blogger Genius podcast.
Thanks so much, Jill. Such an honor to be here with you today.
So we've just been chatting before I press record, and we have so many interesting things to talk about. But before we launch into that, would you just give my audience a very brief background of who you are, what you do, who you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So I am the owner of SwiftPress Support. We are a website and advertising agency. So most of the time clients come to us because they're looking to either get their website redesigned, and a lot of our clients are also either serial entrepreneurs. They've had some kind of success in business, and so they're looking to create a new venture, a new company, and they know how important websites are, so they'll look to us to build them their new website, and also for us to be a part of their team to offer ongoing support and to help them out. And we also offer advertising services. So after we've built somebody a website, we'll help them to do Google ads, to do Meta ads, TikTok ads, different sorts of advertising for them to help them really turn their website into sales machines. And so that's a little bit more about what we do, Jill.
Now, are these WordPress sites that you're building?
They are. They're almost all of them WordPress. As you may know, WordPress is the #1 most popular website building platform in the world. And I think it's developed into kind of like a Swiss Army knife where literally, the world is your oyster. You can build whatever you want on WordPress. So yes, it is built on WordPress, and it's what we recommend to all of our clients.
Awesome. So you were introduced to me as somebody who has some takes about AI and where AI is going. And when I said to you, we're going to talk about AI, you're like, I love talking about AI.
Yes, 100%. So I've been using AI ever since it came out. We've been using it so much in our agency, and we've seen some just remarkable results just because of the amount of time that AI saves you and the quality of answers that you get. And I think that really the future is going to be not just AI, but also people who use AI are going to succeed more in their business. They're going to succeed more even in the marketplace with their clients, with their customers, and they're going to succeed even if they have an employee where they work for somebody or work for a company. So I think it's really important to get on the AI bandwagon if somebody hasn't already, and to start using it almost every day for so many things. Because it's kind of one of those things that's kind of like a muscle where if you don't use it, you lose it, and you want to always be practicing and optimizing for the results.
It's so true. So when it first came out, I talked to a lot of bloggers, for example, and a lot of content creators, and they were very distrusting. They were like, and initially Google had said, oh, we don't want AI content. So then there were these, what would I call them? Who were like, I'm not using AI, and I write all of my content myself, and I also take all of my photos myself, and it's kind of like, that's my niche. And I said, oh, you need to get with the program. I like upset somebody deeply when I said, you're falling behind. Please start embracing AI because it's not going to replace you. It's going to amplify you.
100%. You're absolutely right. It's definitely going to amplify people. And if people aren't using it right now, they're going to fall by the wayside. They're going to become obsolete. And so I definitely don't want that for anybody, but you absolutely need to be on top of it, to read or listen to podcasts like this one, that help you to kind of be on the cutting edge and to know what's coming ahead so that things don't, catch you up by surprise.
Absolutely. So for me, I am a ChatGPT person. I will dabble in Claude or what is the Gemini, of course, because those are the results in my Google search. But I am like ChatGPT all the way. What are your favorite tools that you use daily or more often?
Yeah, so I use so many, but definitely my #1 go-to also, like you, Jill, is going to be ChatGPT. And I think that ChatGPT is just the best all-rounder. It can do just so much, and it's especially like we were talking about, that it's phenomenal with the voice, where
you can... Wait, let's stop for 1 second just to back this up. If somebody has not tried this out, you must. So you need the app on your phone, right? And what you can do, which is crazy, is kind of like Siri, but like Siri on steroids. You can actually talk to ChatGPT and it is like talking to a human. So would you share about like that for you?
Honestly, it blows it apart. So I have some friends of mine. You were talking about some friends of yours also, Joe, before we were recording. Is that who still haven't really gotten on the AI bandwagon, and they're still like fairly green. And so the other day I was hanging out with some friends, and my friend was like, "Yeah, I heard about ChatGPT, but I haven't really used it." And I was like, "Dude, you have no idea what you're missing." And he's like, "Oh yeah, what can it do?" And I was like, so I pulled up the phone and we started talking to ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT to translate in a different language that my friend spoke and to speak the particular dialect that he spoke, and she nailed it. She nailed it. So my friend is Egyptian, and so I asked ChatGPT to speak to him to translate between English and Arabic and to speak in the Egyptian dialect. And if anybody who's not familiar with Arabic, it's a language that has like over 20 different dialects. People can understand each other, but it's just the way that it sounds. And she got it, and we were able to ask her all these different questions, and then to ask her for date ideas for him and his wife to go out in the particular area that he lives in, and she gave him those also as well. So it's just amazing what you can do with the voice feature.
And it's weird because you can hear the voice breathing like between sentences. And will you share that funny story about you and your wife?
Yes. So at the time that we're recording this video, it was around Christmas time. And so for the very first time, we always get a natural Christmas tree. And this year we got our Christmas tree flocked. And what a flocking of a Christmas tree is to make it look frosted. So they add this white substance to it to make it look like it's been in the snow. So for the very first time, we got it flocked and we brought it to our house. And so it was me, my wife, and my kids. And we started a family kind of debate, a funny one. Kind of came out, and we were like, "Hey, how often are we supposed to water this thing?" And my wife was saying, like once a week, and I was like, "No, it's got to be like every day. We don't want it to die, and especially with it being flocked." So we were going back and forth, and I said, "Wait, we're gonna ask ChatGPT." So I pulled out ChatGPT and I did the voice, and I said, "Hey, my wife, her name's Tina. She's saying that we need to water the Christmas tree once a week. I'm saying once every day. Who's right? Tell us." Then ChatGPT replies, "Peter, your wife is right. She's right. Oh, you only need to water it once a week, and if you do any more, it can actually harm the Christmas tree." And it went on all this stuff. And so then she paused for my response, and I said, "Okay, thanks, ChatGPT. I think I'm going to just listen to my wife." And then she comes back and she says with a funny voice, "You're a wise man, Peter, to listen to your wife." And she said it in such a way that was like funny and sassy and like with a little bit of humor. And I was like, wow, like even the way that this computer program is taught to emote is just phenomenal. So you even feel like she's your friend, and we even give her like an identity. You were saying you call ChatGPT a she. So do I.
Like she's my friend.
Right, depending on the voice that you use, but you can of course use whatever you want. And so it's just amazing the kind of quality answers that you get, and also you feel like some kind of kinship towards ChatGPT.
Yeah, so let's go back to the tools that you use besides ChatGPT and why they are useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what I use and why I use them. ChatGPT is an all-rounder. Claude, I like to use for data analysis. So it's really phenomenal for data analysis. So if you have charts, graphs, data for your business, you can feed it to Claude. It does really, really well and gives you great analytics and data and backgrounds and charts.
So are you like uploading a PDF, for example?
Yeah, more like a CSV file.
Uh-huh.
Or an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet where we gather all of our data and all of our metrics, and sometimes metrics for our clients. And we just upload those and say, hey, do this kind of statistical analysis. Show us the trends. Why did this happen on this day? We're trying to also do predictive analysis, and it's spot on. So we really like Claude for that. I also like a lot of different things. Like there's Perplexity, which is really good. And
Perplexity will give you the links to where they're getting their data.
Yes, correct. So Perplexity is really advanced when it comes to doing research. So think of it as a kind of a Google replacement where you can search for stuff and it'll just give you the answer. So the problem sometimes with Google is that hey, it gives you like a bunch of links and you're going to have to go click on the links, which takes you to a web page. And then you have to go scroll down the web page to get your answer. So it takes a while, right? And sometimes you want to be able to see like in context where things are at and where they're coming from. So Perplexity is a great tool for that. The new ChatGPT search is still pretty good, but I would say that Perplexity, it's been in the game longer, and that's all that they do. So they're really good at research and searching and stuff. So I like Perplexity. Then after, we also use a lot of image creation and image like artistic tools. So for that, we like Flux. Flux AI is a phenomenal tool that is able to create really, really great images. Also like Leonardo AI.
Ooh, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, so Leonardo AI is a great, phenomenal tool to create images from scratch, and they have like a lot of like granular controls for like graphic designers and people who want to be able to adjust like backgrounds and looks and blurs and stuff like that. It's really, really good. We also use Runway ML.
What is that?
Runway ML is a great AI tool that does, you can use it also to do image creation, but we use it for video creation. So imagine this, Jill. Imagine that you're able to create any kind of scene from scratch in video. And currently the technology is available for 10-second clips.
Yeah.
I heard of a new one that can do 30-second clips. I think it's InVideo.ai that can do 30-second clips now. But you can basically describe a scene. I could say, hey, show me a picture of a person sitting in an office drinking coffee, and then in walks their child. And then it'll go ahead and create a scene from scratch using exactly that. But then, you could describe like, oh, I want it to be like a modern office background, or I want the walls to be blue or green. And then it changes. So it's phenomenal. You can create basically videos from scratch. Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So those are some of the video creation tools, image creation tools. And then you can basically use like a lot of different stuff. I love to use Cider AI to learn from YouTube. And so what it'll do is that anytime that you watch a YouTube video, it's like this Chrome extension that you could use, or Safari extension that you could use, and it's available on YouTube. And basically you can chat with a video at any time. So it's so cool. So imagine I will say like, hey, give me a summary of this video. Sometimes a video will be like an hour long and I don't want to watch the whole thing. So I'll ask it like, hey, give me the key takeaways from this video. And so it tells me like, hey, all the different takeaways, and then it'll help me to know whether I want to watch the video or not. And sometimes there's even just like little timestamps of like areas that I'm interested in a video, and they'll give me the timestamps, and I can just go watch that section and just move on to the next video without having to watch the whole entire thing.
Wow. Okay, there are a bunch of these that I'm like taking notes that I will go check out after we get off this call. I follow a guy on Twitter, and I don't remember now his handle, or on X, where I just see all of these insane videos of like these new tools, and they're so lifelike and the people look so real that it is shocking.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you know what? I mean, there's basically an AI for everything. And that brings me up to a website that I'd love to share with our audience today. And it's called there'sanaIforthat.com. Basically, there really is. And so what this guy does, it's a guy named Igor, and he's an entrepreneur, and he's basically had this website that basically procures all of the AIs on there, and people are able to go in there and to upvote the different AIs and to give their experience and give them like stars and ratings and stuff like that. And it's been a phenomenal website. So anything that you look for, whether it's you want a resume building AI, you want a slide building AI, you want a social media AI that replies to you, a phone calling AI, there's everything. You go to us, you just search for it, and I'll give you all the different AIs with the ratings, and you can go try it out for yourself. It's called There's an AI for That.
What about GPTs? Are you using those? Are they still a thing on ChatGPT? These are like little, what would you call them? Widgets almost, to help with specific things.
I use them so much, and I've created so many of them for myself. I've created over 25 of those custom my GPTs, and I'm like probably one of like the persons that like uses them the most. But I probably have like the least number of GPTs. I know people that have created over 100 for themselves.
Really?
And for others.
Can you explain what that is, and then how you use them and how you've created them?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that you can do is that you can create a custom GPT in OpenAI, in ChatGPT. And so think about it. Think about these AIs, these custom AIs, like one of your employees. All right. So imagine that you need to hire a specific employee to do something specific for you. And you're looking for certain skills and certain knowledge and certain expertise. That's what you're getting when you're building a custom GPT. You're getting an employee that can work for you and that can give you advice. All right. Think about also like as if you're hiring somebody who's an expert in something. So for example, you can create an AI that is, for example, an expert in marketing. You're going to get different results than just asking ChatGPT for marketing advice, as opposed to if you've created a ChatGPT, a custom GPT that is an expert on marketing, and you can also ask them to get the knowledge from a particular or a group of certain individuals. So let's say, for example, maybe like Mari Smith for Facebook, or somebody else who's an expert in certain areas. You can tell them, you can train them on their data. And then after that, basically all of their data becomes their knowledge base. And so every time that you go and you talk to that custom GPT about marketing, or maybe about medicine, about health, or maybe about diet and fitness, then it gives you tailor-made answers based on either that knowledge base that is in there or based on the way that it's been programmed. And so really, the world is your oyster, and you can do amazing things with custom GPTs.
So I, for example, use one to help me with email marketing. But I found it like in the little GPT, I don't know, like little app store kind of thing. But how hard is it to create your own?
It's super simple, because all you have to do is, if you go into it and you go into the right hand side and you go into the ChatGPT, you're going to be able to click on the little profile icon and click on My GPTs, and you can create on it. You can create it. And the thing is that you can ask ChatGPT to help you to create a custom GPT, which is what you want to do anyways. So one of the very first custom GPTs that I built for myself was a prompt assistant. So I said, hey, I want you to help me to create prompts, because if anybody, and I know that our audience is on the cutting edge and they've already, been using AI. So if anybody knows about like AI and such, then what you'll really want to do is that you'll want, the art of prompting. The quality of the prompt that you enter is what's going to give you the quality of the answer that you get back.
Right.
So you can build for yourself a prompt AI assistant and say hey, ChatGPT, I want to create a prompt, custom GPT. Every time that I want to tell it what to do, I want it to suggest for me, how to create the best prompts. And so you would do that. And then once you built that one, then that could be your foundation for all the other times when you want to create a custom GPT. So then every time that you want to just build one, you just say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to build an expert email writer. I want to build an expert who's in website copy and copywriting. And I want them to be trained on, whichever, copywriters that you like. And then you would say, what would be the instructions that I would have to send? Or you can tell, the best thing to do is to tell ChatGPT, hey, ask me questions that would help me to build the best custom GPT for this scenario. And it'd be like, okay, well, I need to know this. I need to know, what kind of data do I need? I need to ask you, like, who's your target audience and how are you going to be using it? What's the use cases? And so you just go ahead and give it all these answers. It's like, well, based on these answers that you just gave me, here you go. This is how to build the My GPT. Just copy and paste the name, copy and paste the description, copy and paste the instructions, and that's it. You're done. So I would say it just depends on how much going back and forth, but it can take as little as 5 minutes, and sometimes it's taken me as much as about 20 minutes to build one My GPT, just going back and forth with ChatGPT.
I'm going to do this as soon as we get off this call. Like, you've given me so much to think about. So here is my question. As people are listening to this, like, I have this question, and I assume many people in my audience do as well. Where is this all going?
Yes. So I think where all this is going is that it's going for, not just generative AI, but probably going towards where the AIs are able to think for themselves. And I think that that's the scary part, where people are thinking like, how is that going to be? Because right now, the AI that we have right now has the appearance as if it can think by itself, but it does not. And so the reason for that, if I can just take a couple of minutes to explain how the current AIs work, is that they're basically worked on LLMs, which is called large language models. And so what they do is that they basically think of it like kind of like having like a huge library of sorts, and that you have a librarian that actually has all of the knowledge of all the books in that library. And basically, you're just able to ask it different questions, but only that librarian isn't able to think on its own. It's just really good at predicting at what are the next words that come out of your question. That's all that it is. And that's exactly what we have in large language models, is that basically based on what questions you ask, it's just really good at predicting what are the next words that come in a sequence to give you the best answer for your question. So in that sense, it's not actually able to think on its own. It's not capable of reasoning. But all the AI companies, what they want to do, they know that the next stage is to get, if you can get AI to think the way that a human thinks, and specifically the brain, which is the most fascinating, most amazing part of our bodies that has just baffled scientists. And so that's what AI, all the AI companies are trying to do. How can we mimic the neural pathways that are in the brain so that we can create this super intelligence that can help us out in humanity, hopefully give us, breakthroughs in medicine, help us in our work lives so that, we can not just be human doings, but human beings. I think that's kind of where things are going.
It's so funny. We were talking about this before I pressed record. I use ChatGPT all the time. She's like my everything, my right-hand person. And I find it great. But when I start thinking about this stuff, I go, oh, this could be bad. It could also be good. I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm kind of open to all of it. And it's hard, though, to be in so much uncertainty. Whereas for our parents, let's say, they kind of knew what the future was going to look like 10 years down the road. Whereas for us, it's all up in the air. And so there's something kind of destabilizing. Like my daughter who's going to be going off to college. And it's who knows what jobs she should be looking to, except being a prompt engineer is a good idea. But just what's the world going to look like? Nobody knows. And that is so strange sitting where we are right now. And especially because it's changing so quickly. Just even the tools that you're using, I'm like, whoa, I haven't even heard of some of them. And that things are just rolling out faster and faster. Now, I have heard that there might be a hard edge to how much progress with the LLMs. So who knows about that? But it is so kind of interesting, especially as an online entrepreneur.
Yes, 100%. I think that, solves a lot of problems, but also creates some problems as well. With all the efficiency, think about, you as a business person and you have multiple businesses that are successful. And so think about the problems that you have with people that work for you, that sometimes, there are personnel issues. Sometimes there's attitude problems. Sometimes a person, has a family situation and they got to go, and now you're stuck, and that person isn't able to continue doing the job, and now you're stuck having to do the job yourself, or maybe not being able to fulfill a promise that you wanted to do for your client or for your customer, right? All those things are resolved by AI. AI will never give you attitude. It never has personnel issues, right? It doesn't have any family gatherings that it needs to go to, and it can work 24/7. And you don't have to worry or care about AI's feelings for now, all right? And so this opens up Pandora's box.
But what about, though, this idea, Bill, let's say you're a copywriter. Is that job going away? Or how do you think about entrepreneurs creating businesses that don't get replaced?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think that definitely AI will replace some jobs and they will replace some businesses. So just to think we're okay and, it's going to be, blue skies and green lights all the way. I don't think so. And I think the people who do that are going to be the next Blockbuster that fell because, Netflix took over and they didn't see the writing on the wall. So I think we need to adapt. I think as entrepreneurs, I think we should definitely not see the world as just with pink colored glasses, but we need to have some good people by our side to give us advice and to ask of people's advice. And I think We definitely, the world of AI, it's going to be the number one most world-changing technology that has ever taken the world and has ever encountered the world. And it's going to be amazing. But for people who don't adapt and who get bitter and who get angry and who just say like, no, I can't be replaced by a robot, or, they get resentful, well, those are the people that I think are in trouble. And I hope that nobody in our audience is in that camp.
So let's talk briefly about something that I had mentioned to you, which is SEO. So people in my audience are actually pretty skilled at SEO, search engine optimization, especially figuring out kind of Google's algorithm as best they could. And just in terms of like targeting low competition keywords or figuring out how to build blog posts, let's say, that will get traffic. And I feel like that's gotten disrupted for a variety of reasons. Google's updated its algorithm, but also now you go to Google to search and Gemini is going to give you an answer. So why are you clicking through? So I think traffic overall has dropped. However, keywords, for example, I don't think are going away because keywords are how the whole internet figures out what your content is. So what would you say to people who have relied on SEO for so long? Where do you think that is, and where do you think it's changing? How do you think it's changing?
Yeah, and I've been listening to a lot of different people who have different opinions in this space, Jill. And I think that the issue with SEO is that it is being disrupted. We're already seeing a lot of changes. And like you mentioned, the problem is that people are searching, and now, Gemini will just give you the answer, and ChatGPT does the same thing. So does Perplexity, right? And so it's like we want to save time. Who wants to click on a bunch of different links just to go down a page to go find an answer, right? But there are times when you do want to click on the link. And that's why SEO is still valuable. And that's like, hey, you want to, maybe you're looking at maybe buying somebody a gift. And so, hey, Gemini or Perplexity or any of these tools give you the answer to buy the gift for your child or something. Well, maybe you still want to click on that link to go take a look at those products and see what's available and to learn more about the product. In those cases, I think e-commerce is still going to do well with SEO. And I think that SEO is still here to stay. And when you take a look and you take a poll on how many people use Google as opposed to some of these new AIs like ChatGPT, Perplexity for their searches, Google still dominates.
Dominates. Right? I was just reading something about that today.
They're still dominating, right? So they have not been taken off the throne yet. But here's the thing. It's interesting. And that's why, if you're a betting person, which horse are you going to bet on? And then you'll have to wait and see, who wins and in what short time. The thing is that in the area of AI, because of the technology, it can disrupt somebody who's in the mainstream very quickly, all right? So that's why the issue is in my opinion, a matter of leadership. If you want to take a look at the companies and who really is going to be dominant and who's going to be at the forefront, leadership is the key. Because I really believe that everything rises and falls on leadership. And so if you have a good leader at the top and has good leadership, by their side, then I believe that those are the companies that are going to be staying, are going to be able to innovate and continue to move forward. And those who don't are going to be the ones that will be replaced by companies that have great leadership. And so that's why take a look at hey, Google, well, it's Sundar Pichai. He's the leader. What kind of a leader is he? Microsoft, Satya Nadella, OpenAI, Sam Altman. So take a look at these guys. What are they thinking about? How do they think? What are they doing? Where are they going? And I think that's going to be very helpful in understanding also hey, what's going to happen with SEO and, should we still build it? And I think that for the current answer is yes, SEO is still relevant. And I think it will be at least for another year or so. But within that year, what's going to happen? We don't know. And how's the technology going to change? We don't know. Keep a close eye on it. But the most important thing, here's what I'm going to do. Here's the bottom line. If there's any advice for people looking to do SEO, it's this: diversify. Diversify. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I've made that entrepreneurial mistake several times in my business, and I paid for it very badly. Lost a lot of money. So I would say always diversify. It's not just enough to have a plan A. You need to have a plan B, C, and also a D. And I think.
So what do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, so with the different plans, like always think about, do a SWOT analysis. Ask ChatGPT and Claude and all these AI tools, hey, do a SWOT analysis. If you're not familiar with what a SWOT analysis is, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so you can ask, it's a way of thinking, a problem solving approach to look at different plans and to look at different things that you're doing in your business and say, hey, create a SWOT analysis for SEO. And then you ask AI and it'll help you. Maybe you can ask it some questions, or maybe you can, so it can tell you, like, how do we comes up with plan B, C, and D for, hey, what happens if all of our traffic goes down and you're not getting any juice anymore, any love from Google sending back, well, where else are you going to do? Well, maybe another solution is to do advertising, or maybe another solution is to reach out to influencers and to have them showcase your products, or you have all these. That's already a plan B and a C right there. So you just need to come up with viable solutions for your business in case SEO doesn't work. Come up with a plan B, C, and D, and you can use the AI tools to help you think about the different things that are viable for your business as well.
Wow. Okay. Again, I will do that also as we, move forward. So as we wrap this up, are you positive about the future and online business, or are you worried? What is your overall vibe about this?
Yeah. I am optimistic, Jill, and I think that's just the kind of person that I am. I think there's going to be a lot of good things that come out of AI, and just the end use cases are so amazing. I was just watching somebody who was talking about, think about, hey, AI running for office. It's like, and now I was like, what? That's crazy. And they were like, well, think about it. Think about all the problems that you have with politicians. Right? Maybe from some of them not telling the truth, from some of them maybe having a lack of a moral compass, maybe from somebody who doesn't show empathy to your people, your city. And imagine you have an AI that you can go to and that is able to create near perfect decisions, for your city, for your state, or for whatever. Be that one day we see ChatGPT for president. I don't know, it'll be interesting. But that's what I'm thinking is going to, I am an optimist, and I think there's going to be a lot of good things that come out of it. But I think that it's just a tool in our hands, and depending on what we build with it, that's going to dictate whether it's a tool for good or bad. But it'd probably be some kind of mix, but mostly for good.
Wow. Okay. Peter, if you are so interesting, I want to have you back in a couple months so we can do an update of what you've learned or what you're seeing in AI, what I'm seeing in AI, and whether we're both still positive. I would say I am positive. I would say I am positive. I'm neutral to positive. That's what I would say. You're more positive than I am, but I think it's my husband thinks it's the most fascinating thing because it's a new toy that he can play around with. And so he'll constantly be like, Jill, come over here. Check this out. Check this out. So whereas I feel more worried for humanity because I am a people person and I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the people and the people that we love and holding those people close.
100%. Amen to that. I love that. And I think that I'm also a people person like you, Jill. And I hold relationships are probably the most important thing. What else could be here, and why are we here? If it's not for relationships and being in community. So I think that's really important. I don't know if AI can replace that. I think it can come dangerously close, and I think that's what you're picking up on. I know you're well read on the subject, and you keep on top of things as well. It's right now when you take a look at the robots that are being created by Elon Musk, Tesla, Boston Robotics, these different companies.
Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics, excuse me, thank you for that. Then all these different companies, you take a look at what they're producing, it's like an actual robot, it's like what you've always seen on TV. But what happens when that robot actually looks like a human, and
Right.
It can mimic and talk and emote just like a human being, and it can love you, and it can help you and be a tremendous asset to you, and you can program it just to be near perfect for you. Now that's where you're in the danger zone. It's like, okay, you're loving a piece of machine, more than your fellow neighbor or whatever it is that you're replacing. And I think that's where it's going to open up Pandora's box, and who knows what's going to happen.
Who knows? Okay, Peter, if people want to reach out to you, learn more about what you do and what services you provide, where should they go?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Thanks, Jill. Best place to get a hold of me is on my website, which is swiftpresssupport.com. And hopefully
Wait, say it again slower.
Sure. It's swiftpresssupport.com. And that's the place where we have our web design and advertising agency. You'll also find links to my social media profiles. I'm very active on YouTube and also on Facebook and Instagram and X. My love at the moment is YouTube, so I'm making a lot of YouTube videos. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like. Also, where I teach business owners kind of how to improve their websites so that they can make more sales and have a stronger web presence. So that would be the best place to find me, either on YouTube, but mostly go to my website, surplussupport.com, and you can find links to all of my social media links.
Well, I have to say, this has been so much fun connecting person to person. Like, I could picture in 6 months, it's your AI avatar talking to my AI avatar, but hopefully it will stay person to person, because I've really enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed getting to know you and hearing just all that you had to share.
Thank you so much. And I've actually heard that technology is still here. I believe that it was Zoom the other day that they announced that they actually did create an AI avatar that you could use in Zoom rooms. I haven't looked into it. I'm like, how would that even work? Like, you just send hey, AI, go to this meeting instead of me. And it's trained on all of your knowledge and it can answer like you. I'm like, that's fascinating. And then maybe you can watch a recording of it afterwards to see what happens. I don't know, but yes.
Well, then you use your AI to create the summary of the meeting, so you don't even have to watch the whole thing.
Yes, but who knows? Is it going to be truthful?
Ooh.
Maybe the AI will give you just what you want to hear, but who knows? But maybe you will want to just to build up that trust. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Definitely. I'd love to come back, Jill. I love connecting with you, and thanks so much for having me on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you for coming.